Hey there, Elliot McCracken here, your local realtor with soldbyelliot.com. Today I'm here with
David Young with USA Mortgage.
Now David, can you explain to us a little bit about your company and why you aligned with them?
They like to do loans and they like to get them closed and they like to get them closed on time.
Sounds like a plan. Now David, what's the pre-qualification process look like?
Pre-qualification process is we're going to take a review of your credit. We're going to see if there's any errors or any work needed to be done. We're also going to review income and asset information. This will tell us how much you qualified for and also what you're comfortable with.
And one of the great things about your company is they go based on the book and not a whole bunch of overlays. Can you explain to the buyers out there watching what an overlay is and why it's important?
So every lender in the country has a certain rule book that they have to follow in order to get a loan approved and closed. Some lenders will have an extra set of rules. We call these overlays. So they're following the one rule book that the government has given us, plus they have their own rules that are made up by their own institution. USA Mortgage doesn't have any of those. We follow the government rule book to a T, no more, no less, and it helps us close, less documentation needed, and it helps us close on time.
A lot less stress, a lot less headache. So speaking of getting pre-qualified, what documents does a buyer need to bring in order to get pre-qualified?
Basic documentation is going to be 2 years taxes, 2 months bank statements, and 30 days worth of pay stubs.
And can you explain to the buyers out there watching, there's pre-qualified and pre-approved, and what's the difference of the two?
So pre-qualified, or pre-qualification rather, is going to be me taking a look at your all of your documentation, your credit, and then setting you up in a loan program. And then what it does is I think I can get you approved for this loan program over here. A pre-approval is going to be me actually taking that documentation, submitting it through the process, getting it reviewed by an underwriter who is pretty much the judge on whether you get denied or approved on a loan. And they'll do a manual review of everything and make sure, pretty much make sure that we are correct and issue a conditional approval.
Now, there's a lot of misinformation out there about what credit score is actually needed to qualify for a home loan right now. Where does it start and where do you want to be ideally?
We can go down to a 580 credit score. Ideally, I would like to see somebody at about a 660. Just because that's going to open up the boundaries of what we can do, different loan programs. A big one is the first-time homebuyer program. They just moved their credit requirements from a 640 to a 660. So if you're a first-time homebuyer, a 660 is where I'm going to want to see you if we're going to utilize all the programs out there.
Right. Speaking of all the programs out there, you have FHA, VA, conventional, and some of these first-time homebuyer programs. Now, one of the myths with conventional is you still need 20% down. Is that true?
That's not true. You can actually go down. They have a 3% down payment program. It's conventional. It follows the same guidelines, but you will be required to pay mortgage insurance on that. So just be aware of that.
3% has the PMI still.
Yes.
5% does not.
No, 5% still does also. To get rid of PMI or mortgage insurance, you have to have 20% equity into the property. So you're either going to bring in 20% down payment, or you're going to purchase the home and then build that equity over time, and then you can have that PMI removed.
Now, I'm a big advocate of speaking with a lender right away, as soon as possible. David, why is it important to you, in your eyes, why a buyer should meet with a lender right away?
First off is there's unforeseen stuff that happens. There could be mistakes on credit reports. There can be high balances on credit cards. Something small that can maybe make the difference between you qualifying now or qualifying later. And so if you're looking to buy within the next 6 months, I would say talk to a lender today. And the reason why is if there is an issue on the credit report, or if we have some work to do, that gives us plenty of time to get that work done and get you qualified when you're ready to pull the trigger.
And that's one of the great things I love about David and working with him is when you run your credit with David, he literally goes item by item on that credit report. Number one, to verify it's yours. Number two, to see if there's anything we can do to help get you qualified for more or get things removed to get the process going faster. And with that said, David, the loan process usually has about a couple different stages once you're actually into escrow and you're going through the process. So can we briefly talk on that real quick?
Yeah. So once we get an offer accepted, the loan is going to be moved to processing. Processing is going to go through the loan. They're going to make sure all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. So it's another set of I's just to review. From there, my processor, she'll send it up to underwriting. Underwriting is going to do a formal review of the file. They're going to go through it manually, make sure everything's in line with the loan program, all credit scores are where we need, income ratios are where we need them, and then they issue what we call a conditional approval.
Now I know a lot of first-time home buyers always ask me, Elliot, how much money do I need to save for a down payment? It's all varied based on the loan program you end up going with, correct?
Yeah, exactly. They have 0 down payment programs, all the way on up. I mean, you can put as much down as you want. Ideally, you're going to want to probably save at least that 3.5% if you're not going to be using a down payment assistance program.
Awesome. And a lot of people get this confused as well too, but there's down payment and closing costs,
Correct.
And they're separate, correct?
Very much. So your down payment is going to be a principal reduction of the purchase price. That can be anywhere, like we said, 3.5 or at 3% on up to whatever amount you want. The closing costs, it is a little confusing because the closing costs are the costs associated with the purchase. So this is going to set up your taxes, your homeowner's insurance. It's going to have all your title and escrow fees, any other miscellaneous third-party fees that might be associated with the purchase of a home. That's going to go towards your closing costs.
The other thing that I think is really cool with David and USA Mortgage is they like to give back to our veterans and first responders. Can you talk a little bit about what you guys offer?
Yes, we offer a credit towards closing costs to any first responder or government official. As long as you're employed by the government, we can get you in. Teacher, nurse, that's another one, medical field. We can get you a credit towards your closing costs. One I do personally, and this is something I created on my own, is oil field. Oil field is big in Bakersfield. I thought it was good to give back to the industry that is pretty much the heartbeat of Bakersfield. And so I will also honor any of the credits I give to my first responders or government officials. I'm also giving that to any type of oil field employee. Doesn't matter if you work on a rig or if you're driving the truck.
Well, David, thank you so much for coming on out today and giving us that information. If people have more questions for you, where can they reach you at?
My direct cell phone number is 661-808-083. I can answer any questions you have.
And if you would like to get the home loan process started today, there will be a link in the description down below, somewhere in this video or down below. That will take you directly to David's online website where you can get pre-qualified. That's secure.
Yes, it's a secure online application that I have. It'll submit all your information directly to my system.
So with that said, got any more questions, feel free to give me a call. Elliot McCracken, your local realtor here with SoldByElliot.com. David Young with USA Mortgage. Thank you so much for watching.